everybody. Welcome back. It's Mikeworth with NW2, and this is your fast replay. So if you have not joined us for NW2, NW2 stands for Network Equals Net Worth, and that is how who you know and how you know them is going to decide how much wealth you have. This is the mastermind class, and this is the mastermind class review, fast review. So if you missed the live, then you can come back and get the replay. So in the replay today, what I want to talk about is abundance perspective, and we're really talking about distribution models for your business. And the abundance perspective, again, I think it's the dance party of opportunity. I really appreciate, again, a business model that's alive and ready to go, and it's right for you. Again, my name is Mikeworth. I am someone who wrote the prosperity business model. I am someone who's also been awarded the top woman in finance twice, and I've helped build hundreds of businesses, probably a lot like yours. And I talk about one concept very specifically, and that is prosperity, the ability to magnify. When we look at prosperity in business, the lack of prosperity is the inability to magnify. So when we're talking about conversations between nations, when we're talking about trade, it's the ability to trade that creates wealth, that creates a prosperous nation. So when you are a small business and you do not have enough ways to trade, you're going to see a lack of prosperity. Again, I wrote the prosperity business model. It is the 3 E's: economy, efficiency, and environment, and really making your decisions around those 3 E's, because there's a kinder, gentler, thoughtful, more loving way to be in business. And if you do it that way, one, you'll have a lot more sustainability, but you'll also just make a lot more money because you can move at the speed of trust. And that when we talk about an abundance perspective, today, that's really what I'm working on, is how do we train you, teach you, invite you, play with you in a way that helps you understand that abundance perspective. And you have to kind of try it on. And it's the belief that opportunity is everywhere. You just have to notice them, and then you'll be able to build them. So when we talk about capacity, and there's a lot of layering in today's conversation. So for those of you who have been with me a long time, you'll see me highlight older aspects and bring them forward. For those of you who are new, now you'll have a clue to something else that you can put. So another video, another something that you can look at to deepen your knowledge. But today we're really focusing in on the abundance perspective in distribution. It is really, you've got to look at new ways to see this as a dance party. And again, we're always coming at it from that guiding principle, which is that you have a prosperity mindset. And that prosperity mindset is about leveraging all of the available resources. So it's not about doing everything yourself and growing it as big as you can. It is to say, let's build it in a way that uses many different resources so that not one thing can be a linchpin. So when we talk about the importance of distribution, when we put it with prosperity mindset and abundance, we get something that is kind of the holy grail of magic. And so distribution is, right, something that we have to really focus on. And it's the least sexy, but I'm going to make it a lot more fun. Now, for those of you who remember when we talked about the layering technique, you want to think about the mission of that business, because that is the placeholder that has a hard expectation. So when we are looking at mission, that's the dot that you're going to magnify on. That's the place where all roads have to lead. So you really want to understand what your mission is. Is it to deliver a certain deliverable? Is it a profit sheet? Is it something else? That mission has to be magnified from all points. So if you haven't written your mission, set it on a side note, put it on a side note. Everybody needs to take notes when you're going to a class that I have, because it is it's just so much. And I know that because it takes me hours to make these classes for you and to do all of these things. So I understand how much information there is. But you need to understand, right? When we're working in prosperity mindset, prosperity is the ability to magnify. And prosperity mindset is that ability to magnify from a certain set of values. So those are hard expectations for your life. So think about that. Today, we're really going to talk about shelf love. And shelf love is really how I talk about it in class when you're really looking at things. And it's not just about the physical shelf that you're setting your products on. It really is about expanding your thinking and your creativity and your life. So it's not just about the shelf. You're going to see me say shelf love, shelf love, shelf love. We have so much of it, but you have to think about the products that you have, whether it be a service, whether it be a situation. So, right, a party in general, whether it be an individual product. When you're thinking about shelf love and abundance mentality, it's saying, look, I have to notice opportunity. I have to pay attention. And that's about creativity. And that's also the fun of your life, because once you start learning it in one area, you will start doing it in another. And that other area is you'll start bringing in more opportunity into your everyday life and into the things that you have. Partnering is luscious. And you've seen this slide from me before, that partnering is luscious, like who you're doing business with and why it should be just lovely, delicious. Whereas distribution is like a different kind of energy. It's the lottery. It's like a lottery every week. Yeah. All right. Because you have a whole team working for you. You don't just have you or one partner. The energy is very much, I'm rooting for everyone. And that lottery every week is shelf love. It is to say, where are the shelves that my products can be? And this is a really great plan, right? Where's the love? Where's the love? Look, if you're a plant store that has a coffee shop, shelf love, right? And when we talk about this in general, I was just at a conference speaking, and someone had asked me, like, why do you think this is a problem? And I said, well, because we focus on what we know, and people forget. And this piece of forgetting, if you just get to this point in the video, you can leave, because we forget to explore what's possible. And that is why abundance mentality, that's why the abundance perspective, you have to have it, because it is constantly being in that state of possible. And that's the magic. When you look at people who have really stayed creative, they have focused on not forgetting, and they have focused on remembering, exploring what is possible. And staying in that possible mindset is where all the money's at. It's where all the play is at. It's where all the opportunity is hidden. And what are we doing here? Well, we're here today because your brilliance really belongs on the right shelf. And we've built enough of you over the years to know that your brilliance has a shelf, and it also has a shelf life. So when you're thinking about happy thoughts in general, they don't build a bank account, but getting the words out directly to customers do. And so when you are thinking about that, you've got to think about, how are you showcasing that little tool in your hand, that phone? You might be watching this right now on your phone. That tool is how you get direct to customers. That has never in business been possible except for a catalog and a mailing address and a very expensive way to deliver a message. Now I can do a haircut and invite people to get that haircut in 1 second. That from the minute I hit live, everyone else can start watching. So it's a way to get the word out. And you have to become the shelf showcaser. What is on your shelf right now? And when you think about that, what's the product you have? What are you building? How can I be interested in what you're doing? I had someone ask me from a different class that we have, the 90 days of wealth, uh, the 90 days of wealth organization. Now that class has it was one of those pieces that I'm like, okay, here it is. They were so in love with how well they did as a group that they started showcasing my shelf, right? To go, oh, I just got done taking this class, and this group only had 4 people, but in just reorganizing the things that they already owned, that those 4 people reorganized $38,000 of wealth into their favor. And so showcasing your shelf might be saying, hey, I taught this class and this great thing happened. Hey, I think you'll like this item. So when you're thinking about distribution in general, you want to think about the fact that you are the showcaser. That's your role. And you're going to come up with all of these other places that you may want to look at in distribution relationships. Sometimes it's sending it to a supplier, making something in bulk and putting it out to a supplier. A lot of times it's B2B. It's small business to small business. Can I put my product in their showroom? How do I get into that, right? How do I do business with another business? Then we have direct to customer, DTC. DTC, if you're going to search for something more to educate yourself on, that's really where the internet has allowed people to go. So you want to look at those direct to consumer relationships, direct to customer. Online ad programs that when you are looking at Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or all of those things, this is where the ad campaigns are really going. And ad campaigns, you are really lucky in a couple of things where ads don't cost that much. They're going to grow and grow and grow, because as brick and mortar gets smaller and smaller, online tools are going to be greater and greater. So everybody's marketing dollar that they used to spend on a newspaper or a radio or something like that is really going to change. So online ad programs, that also includes even just your how you're sending things out. So when you're looking at an online ad program, they really work, and they really work for specific products. These are not things that are selling a lot of things. Online ad programs just sell one thing one time. Strategic alliances are another one where, right, that's your shelf. How can I get it on that shelf? How can I get somebody to talk about it in that way? And then there's a lot of joint ventures that you can do. So when we're looking at joint ventures, that might be adding your product to something, that might be a one-time offer, that it might be just a joint venture, might be putting up a booth. So when you're thinking about distribution, I want you to open your mind as to who are your partners? Who can you help with your distribution? And right, start building the party of distribution. And that is the dance party. And when you look at a dance floor, what is the problem with the dance floor? Well, a terrible dance floor, for those of you who have never DJ'd, a terrible dance floor is an empty one. And every DJ will look at their crowd and they will go, how am I going to get these people up and moving? And they have a set of probably 10 songs, surefire songs, that will get all of those bodies up and moving. Your distribution, if your distribution of your product looks like we're at an old folks home at 3:00 in the afternoon and everybody's napping, you better get your DJ on. You got to get things moving. And that's what I mean, right? What is your product's best shelf? Is it that you have something that belongs in a high scale item? Is it something that is, where should they be? Who wants to fall in love with your stuff, your ideas, whatever it is that you're selling? What is your product's best shelf? And when we go back to kind of the 101, right, about product every good product solves something. And I hear this a lot, especially in some of the new models that we're building. Look, we all have problems, and products solve problems. And distribution delivers a solution to the problem. So when you are looking at distribution, you're going, how many other places would someone be looking for this solution? I'll give you an example. One of the examples that I think is so powerful is a checkout line. And when we get to the checkout line, we've already gone through that whole store and we're all thirsty, right? I'm going to take a drink right now. Oh, so much work. It was so much work to get through that store. So what is the problem that someone has when they get to the end of the checkout lane? They have many. They are thirsty. They might have a little snack. They might have worked up an effort, but they may also have to wait there a long time. So let's give them something to look at. Maybe a magazine, maybe some of these last minute items. Oh, did you forget, right? Those checkout little sections are often not even owned by the store. They are actually little tiny kiosks that are owned by someone else. So they're actually rental options. So when you see something on the kiosk, the store itself might not even be profiting that much from there because somebody else put all of the effort in. They're going to restock it. They're going to place what's on there. They're going to do all the work. And it's right next to the register. They just have to ring it up right then and there. So we have problems. We have products that solve a problem, and distribution delivers the solution exactly to the place that that problem is happening. So when you're thinking about those shelves, you really want to think about, where does somebody want that solution? Where do I want that solution? Do I want it right on my phone? Do I want it at a showcase that I can go look at? Like, where do I want that solution? So I would think about that. That's a nugget right there. Don't miss it. And so when you're thinking about your dance moves, right, think about it as a dance floor. Distribution should be a throbbing, moving, exciting, powerful, energized piece of magic. So that's your distribution. And that's what you got to start working on, is what is your game plan? And the easiest place that I think for anybody to start is to redraw the customer experience map so that you can understand distribution options. It's a low stakes in of, okay, well, what is the customer experience? Are they cutting me on the, are they coming onto the website? Are they seeing us on social media? Are they coming into a brick and mortar, right? What is the map that we have, and what is the distribution that we want? So an example for this would be QR codes. So how do we give people QR codes when they're somewhere different? How do we give them the opportunity to explore something that's a little bit magic, right? And so when you start looking at that, what I want you to do is I really want you to go, oh my gosh, oh gosh, I have, right? This is the capturing method, right? When you go, oh, wow, I have to write this idea down, right? Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to write this idea down. Let me put it down, and so I can come back to it. So when you are looking out in the world, that abundance mindset is to go, there's opportunity everywhere. I just have to find it, and then I got to connect it. Shelf love. So when you're thinking about shelf love, you want to rethink it a lot. And then I would start looking at not just your existing customer, but I would start redrawing new customer distribution options. How would a new customer get that into their bag? And that new customer distribution, that right there, what I would have done if we were doing this together as one of the, because this right here is a 3-hour conversation. So if you were coming in and we were going to go, look, let's do a mapping session. This right here would be a 3-hour mapping session. And what would I have done? Well, my answer to you would have been to say, let's take 3 hours and we're going to go to the mall. And then we just look through, how is distribution happening? And how are people getting things in their bags? And what are all these new customers? And we would just look through all the people that are shopping in a mall and go, which ones of these are your customers? So if you're doing this on a DIY, just go to the mall and watch what everyone is doing. And then you're thinking to connect. What is the way my product would serve that person? How can my product deliver a solution for that person? And that changes your distribution model. That opens it up. So that customer, when we look at that customer experience map for what you already know, right? There's an opportunity for that map for us to offer new distribution paths, right? So if you have a brick and mortar store, putting a QR code that allows them to buy something that isn't actually physically in your store. So you can give them something that's only on online. You can give them a new product. You can give them a bio. You can give them something else, right? You can give them a new class. Do you like this? We have a class coming. So you can redraw your customer experience map to look for new distribution. But you can also think of Shelf Love as a way to draw out a whole new customer and figure out how they are getting there. The key for every secret sauce, every business. I was doing a video with a business owner the other day, and she has 6 different businesses. Like, what's the secret sauce? And her secret sauce is, again, not one of anything, right? Secret sauce is not one ingredient. Our secret sauce is not one thing ever. So you want to, again, open your mind, expand what you're thinking about. And one of the things I look at for people is that subconscious anchoring. Your brain is it's your magic. It is everything. I know that I talk about mindset a lot, but what I really want to focus in on is creativity and magic. And how do you do that? And the fastest way to kind of get into that subconscious anchoring is to use some tools that, like music, using mantras, really looking at what your goals are, but you have to subconsciously anchor what you want. And again, a mantra I would do is opportunities everywhere. I just have to find it, right? So you want to start thinking about things, really basic things. What's the playlist that I would have that would get me into the zone? So like the playlist I'm going to put on there is a physical one, is go to the mall, go sit there, go look at customers, go sit in a parking lot, any parking lot that's busy, go look at all of the different people that are there and start looking at what is that opportunity that's here? What's that opportunity that's here? I have a really smart, wise gentleman who years ago had invented the idea for where he thought technology was going. And I had said to him, he didn't understand how smartphones were going to work, but he's like, this is what I wished. And I wished that as soon as somebody pulled into the parking lot, an ad would come up on their phone that said, here's what's on sale today. And I said, oh yeah, well, we're here, right? Now this happens to you already, right? It happens on everything that we do on websites. It happens for a lot of things. It happens in your email, right? How do I get the information about the things that I'm physically close to? And how do I get those things when I'm not physically close to them? So when you're looking at subconscious anchoring, this person had a great idea and it did fruit. It just didn't fruit for him. But it did make that store called Target billions of dollars by inventing their own little kick program, right? That you can get your deals, they can track your sales, they can, they tell you stuff, here's your deal. So when you're thinking about the subconscious anchoring that happens for everyone when they go into that store, when they go into Target, a lot of people are going in there to see what's new. A lot of people are going in there because they know they're going to get what's old, right? They want bread. They just need a loaf of bread. That there used to be a time that Target didn't carry grocery, but they found out through their distribution experience, through their customer service map, that Target was also part of going to the grocery store. So I would go to Target, get my things at Target, all my dry goods, and then I would go to the grocery store after. They're just saying, look, can we take 3-5 5, 10, 15%, can we offer something at that distribution point of getting you paper goods? Can we give you now perishable goods? So it's seeing opportunity in everything. So you want to think of music or mantras or focus in on that journaling to anchor that mindset, abundance mindset, abundance perspective. And then you have to remember that your brain is a treasure map, that prefrontal cortex, that hippocampus, that RAS system, that is the treasure parts of the brain. So when you think about that, is the front part of your brain is the captain, then you have this librarian part of the hippocampus, and then you have your radar system, right? Which is the RAS system. So when you think about that brain, your brain is a treasure map. When all of its parts are working together, this is why we feel euphoria. This is why it's so delicious when you find the right thing, because it knows that its treasure map has been found. And many of you have a complex shopper or complex needs yourself, that you don't need it to just add up in one way, that you need it to be this and this and this and this and this. So when you are starting to look at, I need that one thing. I need this, I need the perfect gift for my mother. I need the perfect gift for my husband. I need the perfect moment. I need this experience, right? And now when you look at that from a customer perspective, they don't have just a want, they have a need. That is how that is how every iPhone app was built in America, right? Or anywhere in the world, is that we had to also sometimes teach people that they could need something more, need something better, need something that worked better. If you've ever had something that was like your favorite, and then you tried the knockoff of it and you're like, man, I'm never buying that knockoff again, I'm going back to the real thing, you never change. I have a grandnephew who is about to graduate from high school, and he is one of those people who's like, yeah, no, there is no other Cool Ranch Dorito alternative that he needs. He needs that particular brand, and needs that particular flavor, because that is the highest thing in his world, right? He doesn't need Cool Ranch on the side. He doesn't want it as a dip. He's like, this is my thing. Okay, there you go. He will not, he doesn't want another kind. He's never going to shop for another kind. And that's the benefit that you have as a brand creator, as a shelf showcaser. That's you having that opportunity to make that treasure hunt happen for somebody else, right? It's all possible. Now, me as the creator, you as the creator, now you have to connect it. And distribution, again, is connecting. It's connecting the solution to where the problem is. Connecting the solution to where the problem is or identified. So abundance mindset, right? I put my product in a boutique that I'm going to put in a quirky vending machine. I want it as a wedding favor, right? I want it in a hotel luxury mini bar, right? Start thinking up all of these other places of where is your shelf. We will find the distribution model after you find your shelf. You have to find the shelf that you want first. And then, and then your brain will start noticing opportunities. And it will start scanning everything for a match. And I always say this to people, when you buy a new car or something that you're like, yep, I have a red car. And then you go out and look for your car. The minute you go out to that parking lot, you go, man, there's a lot of red cars out here, because your brain is constantly scanning to match something. So you have to match that spot. So wherever the problem is located, distribution gives a solution right there. go back to your customer service model, right? How are you delivering? What do I want right now? And the reason that end caps are so important is because there's a solution on the way to something else, right? Every end cap in the history of mankind was built on providing a solution to something else on the way to somewhere else. Think about that. Think about it. Think about it. Now, I talk a lot about playful visualizations. I don't need you to go back to the visualization patterns that you are used to. I really need you to be a young person at a playground. That playful visualization is a whole different thing. And that's permission to dream. And when you are in that funny, zany, courageous space, you are just focused on the play. And that uses a lot more of your brain. That invites all past, present, and future thought to come in to the same area. And it's not just one section of your brain. When we look at the most underutilized part of your brain, which is mapping, and we have not even begun to see the brain science of how many ways the mapping function of our brain is using it. And when we are looking at visualization, I need you to think of playful visualization, that I need that play mindset to be in there, right? That expansive part of the visualization. And that's the permission to dream. Everything can come out. All of it can be. It doesn't have to be this very boring way. And so think about, right, what is the craziest shelf your product could be in? What's the craziest shelf? And I have somebody who has a clothing line in a major store. And one of the things that they were just shocked at is that one of their clothing brand items showed up in a movie. And I said, well, I think what you have to realize is who put that in. The actor themselves did not say, I want to wear this shirt. It is the costume designer who actually went to that major store to go, let's dress them. This is the character item. It is truly whoever was in charge of costume design went, I'm just going to run over to that major store. And when I said that to him, he went, oh, okay. So that was a whole nother distribution point he had never thought of. But because I was someone that understood how that brand maker, how that costumer was dealing with their life and their situations, how the back end works, now I can understand another distribution point. And that was my point to him was, you have a distribution point you didn't even know. But he highlighted him as the shelf showcaser when, hey, here's this major movie and this actor is wearing my outfit. Pretty powerful. So he has to focus on the showcasing. My brand is so powerful that you can be in the movies too. You can be in the movies too. And that is the point, right? Is to expansively think. So we are in replay. And this is where I go, please pause. Please pause. Just close your eyes. Just close your eyes. Imagine 3 places that are totally unexpected that we could see your product. How would it look? What would it feel like? And then how would we work that? How does it work in that space? And now we get to really reimagine how our product is being used, reimagine how it feels, reimagine who's picking it up. So think about that. 3 unexpected places. And then come on back, come on back. And now, bing, 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 bing. This is where we get to go to the reverse engineering. What I love about crazy ideas is that how could it work? And sometimes for those people who are like movers, like how, sometimes you'll hear me go, no, stop doing how, stop doing who. But how could it work? How could it work? Like could I put my product into a vending machine? Like, where would that be? Like, could I put that in a gym? Could I put it in an airport? Can I put it in a trendy office that everybody's looking for an opportunity to have a vending machine? Everybody is. And that vending machine, I was in northern Minnesota and I saw this old timey vending machine, really like back, for those of you who can go back in time and remember this. This was like now the term would be, it will break the internet, but it was Cindy Crawford going up to a Pepsi machine and getting a soda. And so it was one of those old timey vending machines. It was an old Pepsi machine. And I looked at it and you could see the old Pepsi remnants and they'd faded and so forth. And they had just taken paper and written on where the big buttons are that you push. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what is in that? What is that? And so I walk up there and the vending machine is selling worms. Worms. It's a bait vending machine. So the bait shop just put a worm vending machine outside of the gas station. So those guys can get their night crawlers, or guys and gals can pick up night crawlers day or night, 24 hours a day, and get out there fishing. They didn't have to be open. They just, right? They delivered a solution, and they delivered it where that person is having their problem. And that is that they're gassing up their gear. So easy, right? How would it work, right? Take your crazy ideas. What if it's a vending machine? Right? Who can help? Who are your gatekeepers? Who are your connectors? Who are your cheerleaders? Right? Who can help? This is why you need a journal. And a distribution journal is its own thing. It's not part of the other business plan. It's not. You need to focus on just distribution. Right? What's my first step? What would be my first step in this idea? And then just start writing down a plan. Let your mind just dump into that space and dump in whatever way it can, because you can come back and siphon it out, right? Because your brain loves to be fun. It loves novelty. It loves to get its needs met. The brain needs to thrive. And you are that, you're that ticket. You're the ticket to thrive. So when you are looking at this, your brain needs all of these fun little rewards to thrive. So do your customers. They want that novelty. They want that fun. And when you look at those crazy ideas, you want to expand it. What if everybody needed that thing? What if? I have another product line that we are building that's in its infancy. And I said, what if every person that ran a 5K would want that? And they went, oh my gosh, how many people run a 5K? What if, right? Directed distribution. How do we get into every 5K? So what if? And this, for those of you who have done advanced work, is where you have to kind of go back to, right? How did Mickey become the expert, right? Is we have to then tie that what if in to the values proposition. And that right there would have been another 3-hour time for us to work together. So if you and I were having a business session, this is 3 hours of work right here, right? What's the value proposition for us to do? So when you're thinking about right, business strategy in general, that I remind people, it takes me time to do it. And I've done it for hundreds of different businesses. It's going to take you some time as well. So when you think about values proposition, this is one of those pictures that I would take a picture of to go, okay, now I'm gonna dream. I'm gonna do all my what ifs, right? I'm gonna put all those crazy ideas there, right? I'm going to get this. I'm going to take my crazy ideas and I'm going to do the what if, and then I'm gonna come back a different day. And then I'm gonna go, let me match all those ideas to my value proposition. Is it good or bad? Is it good for me? Is it good for the world? Is it good in comparison? Right? Is it good in my values? You really have to start with, what is my product's value proposition? And that right there is magic. And it's magic because it helps you build out all of the trade dress, all of the invitation, all of the marketing, all of the pieces. So values proposition isn't just going, oh, is this good or bad? It's really the pavement that you need to be able to do the rest of it. You need to be able to do the rest of it. So you need to be able to build, right, a story of expansion of the business. And that's what distribution is going to do. So it's not just your values proposition, it is that your values proposition will expand the business that you have and make it so much better. So much better. So we want all of that magic. We want that extraordinary ordinary coming true for us. And when you are thinking about that highest good, you hear it from me a lot, right? What is your highest good? What is the highest good? That is constantly how I am solving everything when it comes into business from that prosperity mindset, which is what is in the highest good as it pertains to, right, to you and the customer. What is that? Now we come to the fun part, right? Let's go back to the dance party. Okay, I got to do it in the highest good. Now I'm going to gamify it. Now I'm going to gamify it because gamification is the play portion. So gamification is like, okay, let's do the shelf spotting game, right? I need shelf love. Where should this be? And I focus on one product at a time and one product regularly, right? Who needs to be in this class? You. How did you get here, right? How did I get on your shelf? How do I get more of my stuff on your shelf, right? That I got to think about the shelf spotting game. Who can give this class away for free? Who wants to share this, right? Who wants to be here? It is the shelf spotting game. Gamify your expansion. And so one of the things is that you can also gamify with a construct, right? Something that holds it in. So that means that I'm gonna put the how. For those of you who have taken the how journal class, if you haven't taken the how journal class, you should come there because it teaches you, well, everything you're going to need to know in AI also happens in the how class, because in how you're learning to put together a query with a constraint. In learning how to use AI, that's what they're teaching you too. But we do it in a different way. But the how journal class, right? How am I going to do this? And then you put a constraint on the end. So spot 10 new shelves this week. And right, how am I going to spot 10 new shelves this week? And I'm going to count no ideas too small or too silly. How am I going to do that? How do I get it on there? Right? Make it crazy fun. And because you're the treasure hunter. And you are showcasing the shelves that you already have. You're not building the shelves. You're showcasing them. You're going, this is what I have. This is the product. And when you look at the amount of ways that you're showcasing to solve a problem. You're giving distribution to deliver a solution at the site that they're having the problem. And think about the risks that you can recover from. Man, I can take a lot of risk. I can take a lot of risk. We have an inn that we went in on as a prosperity project. And we just started inviting people in and giving them a way to see how they could partner with us. So they could learn to be a guest innkeeper. They could learn to do some of these other things. They can have a retreat. They can have a family reunion. They can do all these other things that we can look at ways that people can move forward. And when we look at that, I go, well, what's the risk I can recover from? Well, whatever I sent in marketing, I can get back by just paying the person to clean the inn. So we invited people down, come on down. And if I wanted no risk, I could just go, why don't you come down? You just have to pay to have the room cleaned. And I give people what the room cleaning fee is and just come down. Think about your idea, be in the physical space, or just come down for the afternoon, right? So think about the risks that you can recover from. There are a lot of risks that you can recover from, that you can take in your business model. And one of them are pop-ups. You know, I'm a big fan of pop-ups, and a pop-up can also be presenting at a conference, right? That's a pop-up for your brand. That can be you having a booth at a brand. You want to find, you know, temporary and interesting ways that you can expand distribution. And that pop-up model it works on everything. It works on everything. And we love that. So when you're thinking about what you're doing, just try a pop-up. Just try a pop-up. And again, you heard me mention it earlier. You want to keep that energy alive. You got to keep that dance floor rolling. And that's why you need a distribution journal. You have to put everything in that journal. And that journal is your dance floor. It's your mantras. It's your songs. What's the music I'm listening to? What's my wins? What did I get? Right? You got to spend the time to capture, because your brain is always working, right? Everybody that comes to class, everyone that hangs out in these sessions, everyone that comes to all of the different things, right? This is a business mastermind group that many of you are coming to other things that are offered in community, right? Many of you are coming to the 12-week year program that we offer. Many of you are coming here to the mastermind group. Many of you are coming to all the other classes that I teach. You're here. You're here. Your brain is always working. It's always expanding. Give it some time. Give it some space. Give it a playground. And guess what? We're all going to be here to play with you. That's the fun of being in community. That's the fun of being in a prosperity mindset community, is sometimes the people you're with are the playground. We want to dance with you, right? We're the ticket to hotness, right? We want to be in your prosperity. We want to be in your paradise. So thanks for showing up. And thanks for showing up and tracking your wins and celebrating right here with us. And when you think about those wins, you want to celebrate. I will give you an example from a brick and mortar store that we had. And they were like, I'm like, what? Why are you guys not at New York? They're like, we love New York. We love that. I mean, we can't afford that. And I went, oh, stop. Oh, stop. You can't afford that because your distribution is plugged. If you were selling more product, we wouldn't have this problem. What's the product that you need out of New York? And so we just made a plan. We made a plan. And I said, listen, let's figure out what you need to sell so that you can get to this other point, which was, let me go to New York at the big trade show and meet all of the new things and all of the things. And they needed a week. They needed a week. They had to manage their families. They had to manage managing the business, right? How can they get the cover? And then, oh my gosh, they needed an extra $5,000 just for hotels and travel. So they were like, Mickey, you don't understand. This is like a $12,000 to $15,000 item. And I'm like, okay, well, let's do that. And so then we had to kind of imagine. So right now when you're shopping that you have to look at all of those items to go, what are the problems we can solve? And where can we hit that distribution point so that you can have 3 times that? So you need $45,000 of sales that you can deliver immediately to people. And one of the things that I said to them was, figure out what it is that you can pre-order out of those sales. Hey, we're going to New York. We're going to pick these up. We're going to ship them back, and you can pre-order as you go. And they were like, oh my gosh, there's a whole new way to look at it, right? Track your wins, celebrate. If you think that you are going to find something somewhere, then that's a risk you're going to have to take. But this is a small risk. For them, they're running $1 million company. They can make a $15,000 mistake. They can recover from that. They just don't like to recover from it. And so they have to look at new opportunity, new options. You have to explore what's possible, not constantly saying, I'm going to scrimp, I'm going to get smaller, I'm going to get smaller, I'm going to get smaller. You can't do it that way. Expansion doesn't work that way. It doesn't. So you want to build planning points, and you want to build planning points that measure what it is that you're magnifying towards, right? And then what are the outcomes? So just a real basic point of that is, look, a new shelf is worth $45 to me. So a new shelf might be that somebody subscribes and buys something once a year. That's a new shelf. Subscribe because you're going to get the sale first. That everything that we put out that's fast and immediate, it's going to run out. It's a one of a kind. You have to come to our show, right? That shelf right there. And that shelf, by the way, of going direct to consumer with a one of a kind item that isn't going to be here tomorrow, that model is where all of the influencers are going, where all the big money is coming. And guess what? That is profit. That is a profit model. Shelf love. Open your mind. You want to fall in love with the shelf. I was just working on building a nail tech salon with somebody. And I was explaining to them that in these salon models, we don't actually build the math around individuals. We build it around the chairs, right? How many people are sitting in that chair? How often does that chair turn over, right? That's how you build your forecasting model. And so your shelf love is going to be like, how fast can that shelf turn, right? How fast can we restock that shelf? How fast can we get people touching what's on that shelf, right? When we talk about paying for help, all of you DIYers, I love you. I love you. But the better you are at DIYing, the more you have to learn that you have to stop doing that as soon as you figure it out. A lot of times, I love DIY because it helps you figure something out. I go back to the, you may see the Easy Light Wraps product. So the Easy Light Wraps is another brand that we are working on building. And I've been with that brand since the beginning. And in that model, she was a DIY person. And so she put it up on Etsy. She started doing all the sales. And that was for her an invaluable, as the inventor. She is the inventor that decided that she would go direct to customer. Now that's a long flight plan. That's a long training model. But what did it do? What it did is it helped her understand how every step of the way is happening. And so for those of you who are DIYers, you have to understand, why are you DIYing? Because many times you have to learn something about distribution. That how is it getting purchased? How are they receiving it? How is the product getting there? Right? What is the feedback? And because she had that direct to consumer relationship, and they had direct to the inventor piece, they got something so much better. So they helped her figure out all of her stuff. And then she could figure out what parts she could pay someone else to do. So she easily could hand off the shipping. Once she learned that, she could hand that off. Then she could figure out the FAQs. So now technology could take over a part of that. So when you're thinking about paying for help, even if you are a DIYer, you're going to know something, but help is going to be there to take that off. So now you can figure out something else. The reason you don't want to do it all is because somebody else can do it. We were in another store model that had gift wrapping. And I said, look, I don't need you to do free gift wrapping. I just need you to offer the service and let them know that it's very little. And so basically we were taking things that were very low or no cost to them and building gift wrap out of it, creative gift wrap. And so people would go, oh, is it free? And they go, no, it's 50 cents. And no one says no. Oh, 50 cents. My goodness. Yes. Make that cuter. And it was really right. Knowing the problem, giving a distribution solution right at that moment. The only time they are selling gift wrap is when they're packaging someone's stuff up to go. It's 50 cents. Oh my gosh. I can't even buy a pack of gum for 50 cents. So, right, paying for help. So they're not sitting there doing the gift wrap, but whoever's checking out is, right? Pay for help. That is abundant. But for those of you who are DIYing in your customer experience or in what you're doing, figure out what you need done, how you need it done, and then pay someone else, because time is money and we got to grow faster, because you want that money in your pocket as quickly as you can. Now, this was a lot of info. So here's the recap. The 3 keys: mindset, creativity, action, right? Mindset, abundance, right? Perspective. There is an opportunity out here. I just have to find it, and then I got to connect it. And creativity, I got to make it so that it's interesting. Distribution is a dance party. If you are looking at on your business plan and all your product and it is a dead dance floor, you got to get that mantra up. You got to get that music up. You got to get that energy. You've got to get all of those people in distribution to the dance floor. And that is why I say to people, distribution is how you deliver a bigger future. So if you and I were in class together, this is where we would be talking. And this is why we have a longer version of this for you. So we have a longer seminar that's available on just distribution. So that's an all-day class. You should consider that one because it's a big deal. Your homework for today is really find five new shelves. You've got to get new shelves and find it for you this week. Opportunity is everywhere. You just have to start looking. You don't have to be a genius to be adorable and fun and exciting and to be in the right place at the right time. You don't have to be something other than what you already are. You have the tools, you have the know-how, you're already brilliant. Just play with it. Play with it and do that new kind of visualization. I don't need you to do the old kind of visualization. You want to do this new abundance model, right? Expansive, playful visualization, because playful visualization is going to get you a lot further because it's going to give you the energetic flow that you need to expand. That's the secret. So co-creation is always fun. And I am so glad that you are here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you 1,000 times over for hanging out with me and for making time for you and your business and the things that are important to you. I'm never tired of seeing you. Again, I always, if I can't see you live, I like to see you here. So again, you can hang out with us all the time. There's lots of other videos that are here that are helpful. And I hope to see you in class. And that's my favorite place, is to see you there. Have a great day.